No, I'm okay.
I was also right. All right, so what if I told you you had $10 million in the bank right now? How would you plan to spend your days, your weeks, your years? Who would you see? Where would you go? What would you do? Because thinking about this question long enough, you'll begin to realize that there isn't a reason to wait, and there are many ways you can start living the life you want today. It's so easy to get caught up in this frenzy to constantly strive for more, grind for the next milestone, so much so that you never took a moment to look back and appreciate how far you've come. I mean, think back to where you were 5 years ago, or even just 1 year ago, and imagine that version of you. What did your days look like? What were the goals, dreams, challenges, setbacks that you had? Remember how some of them seemed so insurmountable, so out of reach, so painful. But looking at things now and looking back at it, you're like, hey, you made it. One way or another, you found a way, and things turned out okay. It wasn't too long ago that you hoped, prayed, and dreamed to be the person you are now. For some people, it's striving tirelessly for that next promotion, landing a job at the dream company, building out that business from the ground up. But for me, it was the idea of retiring early and reaching financial independence. I don't know, like, the concept seemed incredibly enticing at the moment because financial freedom meant not having to worry about money, not relying on weekly paychecks, and being able to do what I want with the time that I have. I'd be free to venture, free to explore, and free to fail with minimal risk. I feel like growing up and not being taught financial concepts like budgeting, investing, taxes, and so on, I felt like I was just so behind in this world of financial literacy and education, and the only way that I could prove to myself that, hey, I'm okay and that I can catch up was to retire as early as possible. And so I dove deep into finance books, opened a Roth IRA, 401k, HSA, etc. I tried to save every single penny, thinking that the smallest sacrifice would make the biggest difference in the future. And I took frugality to the max. And don't get me wrong, because I 100% believe that understanding how money works is crucial and important to planning your future. But to the level that I took it, it was a bit extreme for me that I felt like I wasn't really living my life. I would feel like I was sacrificing and denying myself of things I wanted and viewed everything through the lens of money. I created this strict persona that would cast shame and guilt over me every time I spent money that was beyond something that was a necessity. I kind of imposed this mindset that relaxation, being happy, and enjoyment comes after a milestone is reached or after a fact, rather than it being a choice that I can make every day with what I currently have. And so even in the moments when I did treat myself, it never truly felt like I was treating myself, because I would just make myself feel bad about spending money and that money would have been better used elsewhere. And I felt this need to rush towards financial independence and retiring early, and I would just kind of be this grumpy old man, skeptical, sad, insecure. And then one day I just started asking myself why. Like, why am I like this? Really trying to drill on what was the rush. I came to the realization that I had put retirement on this pedestal in my life. I had fantasized about this concept and never really took the time to visualize and imagine what that would mean when I reached there. I would say things like, once I retire, that's when I can travel the world. That's when I can write that book I've been thinking of. That's when I can buy that house on the coast, swim every day. That's when, insert your goals. And ultimately, as I worked through the reasons why I wanted to retire early, I was like, number one, why wait for some of these things? And two, do I actually want to do that every single day for the rest of my life? As I continued to visualize my days and weeks and years, I would look through things from a logical lens, and I didn't feel like I actually wanted to travel every single day of my life once I retired. And I didn't think I liked writing enough to actually spend all that hours just every day writing a book. I came to the realization that I only wanted all of these things in some sort of moderation. And that's when I began to think and brainstorm that actually there's many ways I can incorporate and build these activities and things that I want into my days right now, and that there wasn't really a need to wait. And so this message is for really all those who feel the need to put off living and being happy until you reach some sort of destination. This is my urge for you to reconsider and to find ways that you can start living today. Ultimately for me, it was about being able to design a life in such a way that I felt fulfilled and happy. Happy to me meant that I get to work on building something I deem purposeful. Happy to me meant that I have my basic needs taken care of, a roof, food, clothes, and the occasional budget for splurging money on things I want to buy. It also meant having enough time in my days and weeks to spend quality time with my family and friends. Time to work on bettering myself physically, mentally, and spiritually. By reading, working out, trying out crazy new things, I realized that for myself, my love for traveling comes to only an occasional thing, and that if I do go travel, I would want to go with my loved ones. And so I found myself pondering that question a lot again. Like, ask yourself, if money was no object and you had all the time in the world, what would you do? Because I guarantee that most likely you'll find that you don't have to wait until some goal has been reached, and that there's many ways to start living the life that you want today. In taking a moment to realize how far you've come 1 year ago, 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago, you'll begin to feel a lot happier, a lot more grateful for where you came from and what you have. And this helps for you to identify a lot of the simple pleasures. And so with regards to the whole money thing and trying to retire early with financial independence, I still have that as a goal. But rather than being so fixated and crazy on just reaching the goal, I'm choosing to live it day by day and to appreciate the journey of me getting there. A quote from the Netflix show How to Get Rich by Ramit Sethi. He says that it is quite simply about choosing the things you love enough to spend extravagantly on, and then cutting costs mercilessly on the things you don't love. I felt like this quote really resonated with me because it really ultimately caused you to reflect and think about what are the things that matter to you. Because there are many things that will be in the way to distract you. So take some time today to figure out for yourself, what are the things you love and want? What are the things you want to do? Once you have an idea of what an ideal day of yours consists of and what it looks like, then it's all about protecting it, not letting others distract or deter you from the path. If you never really cared for a big house, then you don't need a big house. If a car to you is merely a means of getting from point A to point B, then there's not really a need to get a big fancy car. Allocate your resources, which is your time and your money, to things that actually make a difference for you. And this would be different for everyone. And go crazy on those. But really check yourself and keep yourself accountable for everything else. And of course, as we get older, I'm sure that at the end of the day, all of our answers and things can change, and that's expected. But what matters is that you're thinking about it. It's about building and trying out new things, testing it out to see if it works for you, reflecting on how that makes you feel and what this contributes to your future, and then repeating that process until you find something that ultimately works and helps you grow and build the life that you want. By doing things this way, you'll be able to stay dynamic and allows you to be ready for whatever life may throw at you. It also helps to keep your expectations and wants in check and close to your heart and ultimately who you are. And sometimes a big way of how you define who you are is through your cultural identity. Last week's video, I shared about my upbringing as an American-born Chinese and how that has led me to become the person I am today. And so thank you so much, Andrew, for throwing it back with the comment about me blasting Chinese New Year music. I still stand by that genre of music is the quickest genre of music to bring a smile to my face, just because of how upbeat and happy everything is in those kinds of songs. But with that, the weather has been amazing. I hope everyone is having fun in the sun wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, subscribe. It really goes a long ways in helping the channel grow, and I'm so glad everyone's here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see everyone next week.